and I'm just showing you how I create my titles using Cricut Design Space. Now, at the moment, I've just clicked on the button down here, my app, open up my app. Now, when I get into here, I'll just make it bigger so you can see it a bit better. Okay, so this is Cricut Design Space, okay? I go up here and I click on New Project, the same as you would if you were creating a new, you know, a cut file that you've purchased from somebody. And then I come over to this side, over here, and I click on Text. So click there, and then you'll see a text box pop up. So maybe I want it to say Create with Karen. So that's a title I want to use. Then what I do is I come up here and I change the font to whichever font I want it to be. So Cricut's just had an update. Now I actually have the subscription to Design Space, Cricut Design Space. So I actually have everything open to me, whether it's from the Cricut on my system, something I've bookmarked, or something I've loaded up myself. So then I sort of scroll through until I find whatever font I want to use. I quite often, the ones I use quite often, you know, something like this, I use that sometimes. So we'll just click on that one. You can write down and save. You can save these titles that you make. You can save them to your own files if you want. Now, once I've got that, it's in the font that I want. Then I can make it as large or as small as I want. Now, usually depending if I want to make my title really large, sometimes what I do as well is, I'll just go back a step. When I create my text, sometimes I do it like this, and I do create, and then I will do, I'll do it like that. And the reason I do it like that is it allows me to make the text box bigger, so I can make the font bigger, but it doesn't go off the edge, because Cricut Design Space only cuts between 11.5 and 11.5 this way. So it leaves you a ½ inch all the way around. So that's the way that I can create a larger font. Then what I do is I quite often create. So once I've done that, I then pop down here, down to this box down here, I click on Combine, and then I weld it. The reason I do that is so that I can now move the whole thing around. It's going to cut, you can see up here, it's actually going to cut it all as one piece, right? And it keeps all your spaces right, not a problem. Then I highlight it. So I've highlighted the whole thing. Then I come up to this box up here and I click on Offset. When I do that, you get two options. You can have a round corner offset, or you can have a square corner, depending on what font I'm using. This particular font sort of lends itself more to a round corner. Then what I do is I pop up here where it has the size of your offset. I don't like a giant offset like it's got at the moment. I like mine to be more like, so you just drag this little green button. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. You can even cut it on the inside. So you can actually jump and cut the inside of your letters out. So, but usually I bring it down to about, if it's a chunky title, I go 0.69. No, sorry, if it's a finer title like this, I usually like 0.69 of an inch. That's the number in here. So that's where, I'll try and zoom in for you so you can see it a little bit better. So I go 0.69 here. If I have a chunkier title, I will sort of bump it up to about 1.1. See how it just makes it just that slightly little bit, just that little bit bigger. Then what I do is I bring it down to the size I want. I click apply, and then you'll see you've got two separate things. So if you actually click on it, see how you can drag them two separate pieces. You've got your offset and you've got your letters, right? So then what you do, you don't have to worry about lining them up or anything on this sheet. You don't stress about that. Then you click up here and you click make it. When you do that, hang on, I'll have to zoom back out again. Okay, so then when you do this, you've got two mats over this side. You've got this one, which is your offset. You can see that it's bigger. See how there's a red line around here? That's where you have to have everything inside that for it to cut on your Cricut mat, okay? So I usually line mine up so that I can cut both of them on the one sheet of white cardstock. So I will line that right up to the red line, just off the red line. Then I'll click on the other one and see how it comes down. And when I make my titles, if I'm going to do it like this, I try and keep my title within 6 inches. That way, it doesn't really stress me that way, but from top to bottom, I don't go over the 6-inch mark. That way, I can actually cut the letters and the offset on the one sheet, and I'm not wasting cardstock. So then I just move this one over a little bit. So that way, when I put it in, I cut. So then when I continue, now I've lined that up, right? Now I have my Cricut set on cardstock, 80-pound cardstock, and I 99.99% of the time, I cut it out using the American Crafts white textured cardstock. That's what I use. Now I'm going to show you, because I don't really need to cut this. So this is one that I did yesterday. So you can see I've put in, I hope this isn't too wobbly. So that's the title that I've cut out. And then what I've done is I've turned it around and I've put it in again and cut the offset. So it's all on one sheet and it's easy. So that is how I cut my titles. Oops, sorry, now I'm all wonky. So that is how I cut my titles using Cricut Design Space. If you have any more questions, let me know. Happy to run up another video like this. Hopefully it all makes sense. And yeah. Thanks for watching, and I'll chat to you later. Bye for now.